Hello, everyone. It is your Malazan boy, and
today we are reviewing Citizen Kane.
yes,
One of the greatest movies ever made.
yes. Today we are reviewing Citizen Kane and starting our journey on the top 100 IMDb movies. Technically, Citizen Kane is number 99, but we had to skip over M because I couldn't find it anywhere. I would love to watch a Fritz Lang film, but it's hard to watch Fritz Lang films with your friends.
Yeah, all the old ones are just like...
But this is relatively old. So, I guess...
1941.
Yeah. Let's say our synopsis. You say it, and then I'll say things that you missed. You have 30 seconds.
Okay, it was a good movie. It was a really good movie. It doesn't really... It can compare with modern dramas, some of the good ones. Although it is not the best. The thing is, it's like one of the most revolutionary films. And the ending of it was just amazing. Like, the whole time they're looking for his last words, Rosebud. And then after that, you just see at the end what it all means. It's pretty interesting.
Time. Okay, I guess I'll catch up the parts that you missed. So yes, they're trying to follow and figure out what the word Rosebud means, because that's what he said on his deathbed. But the story is told out of time at different points in time. It starts with him becoming a idol of the newspaper industry.
His early life, and then his parents had to put him up for adoption or really sell him to the bank.
Yeah, I honestly thought it was gonna get really dark and he would become like a prostitute of some kind.
And then after that, he just became like the successful businessman. He was like, I want to run a newspaper, and I don't care what you guys say.
Conveniently with his sled Rosebud. And I think that's the main idea that people talk about with this movie is, why would he say the name of his sled at the end of that movie? I honestly think because...
It's his memories. That's really his only good memories.
Yes, I think that it fast forwards back in time to purposely get those ideas, almost to kind of like wish for childhood again. Like, he's built up his life so much, he's gotten to almost a point of no return where he feels that he's almost ruined his life. And
especially after this big scandal where he cheats on his wife, then everything goes crazy.
Yes, also his wife leaving him because she's like, I want more, even though he gave her everything he could.
But he didn't really love her though, it seemed like, near the end. Well, he did. It's complicated.
Well, I think the whole plotline with the opera house was one of the best parts of the movie.
Yeah,
with him saying she's a great singer and then critics bombing her, him finishing the article that actually talks about how her singing was crappy to get back at his friend. I thought it was amazing, but parts of that movie haven't aged well, especially where he hits his wife and stuff.
I do agree.
Yeah. Okay. So yes, I was very excited about that. I really enjoyed how his life kind of ages more and more. Like, at the beginning of the film, you just see him die and you think, oh wow, that's a crazy beginning to a movie. The snow globe falling and then it's shading into his old house.
And I was like, who the heck is that? Is it like his mentor?
Yeah.
I thought they were going to have Kane, as the main character, so I think he is.
Kane does not feel like the main character. It's almost the interviewer it feels like a Dateline documentary on...
the main character.
Yeah, it's like a Dateline documentary on all the events that have happened in his life, trying to figure out what the word Rosebud means. And I love how they're, just with how confusing this man was, we see politicians all the time today that have very similar things to this.
Donald Trump.
Yes, or Bill Clinton. I think that Bill Clinton's run is very similar to this because...
I don't really know much about him, but...
Yeah, Kane wants to run for government. He is shown to have cheated on his wife. And
scandal. And
yes.
Done.
Yes, that's Bill Clinton in a nutshell for you. Also,
wait, you know what?
I think that Kane was being super mean to his first wife. Like, his first wife was fine.
No. I feel like he was nice to his first wife. He just was so obsessed with his newspaper that it all fell apart. And then he met Susan Alexander. I don't know if he actually loved his first wife.
I love that montage where it's like he runs away with her and then the newspaper is like, oh wow, this is gonna change a lot.
Oh yeah.
And then you see each time at the dinner table it gets more and more morbid. And
I'd rather have a rival in flesh and blood than you.
yes.
Because she's like referencing that he spends too much time working on the newspaper, which seems to republish upwards of 4 times each night.
It's almost the only thing he has in a way.
Yeah.
Like, his newspaper is his legacy. He did not, he had a family for what, like 6 years? Then lost him to this businessman that took him away for probably like $60. Also, you can tell the mom didn't actually love him. That's a problem.
No, his first wife did love Kane, but she just never, it just didn't work.
Yes.
Kane never loved his first wife.
Also, I feel like in a way there's a contrast between his parents and what happened to him.
Yeah.
His parents, there's this lady, he's mad at the father. The father says we're gonna give this kid away. And then you fast forward and you see Kane kind of left behind his first wife and his son. They end up dying in a car crash.
Which is kind of annoying.
Yes, this movie should be rated R. And I don't think they should, no. I mean, the things they're talking about. If it was made today, they would make it rated R and it would go into depth on every single one of these things.
No, if they made it, if they made it today, it would for sure, it would be much more elaborated on. Because back then, the movies weren't a new thing. They weren't like going to the extreme with anything they could.
Yes, and this was almost the first modern film in a way. Okay, do you remember the shot where he's running for governor and there's the big thing behind him and there's the audience?
Yeah, that part where his son is like waving to him.
Yes. The audience is actually fake in that shot. They used a matte painting and then they slid white paper behind the matte painting to make it look like the audience was moving. You couldn't go online and figure out VFX breakdowns in the 40s.
So all you had to do.
It was all on film.
And it looked real.
Yes.
They did it well. No CGI.
I've always said that a mix of both practical and VFX will look better than just VFX or just practical.
And miniatures.
Yes, and I'm a big fan of miniatures. They're like my favorite thing.
Like the way they did Lord of the Rings and stuff.
Yes. I don't know if they use miniatures for this movie. I think there's one shot that is miniatures. When it zooms past all his statues,
yeah, that's
I'm pretty sure that's miniature. It almost feels like copied and pasted miniature. So I don't know. Alright, so now we gotta get to our actual, like...
Wait, what about Kane himself?
Oh, as a character?
He's a politician, but he's not a politician.
He's a very morally gray character. Like, I believe he's like a real person. I feel like he's one of the most real characters in Hollywood. He grew an empire. He saved a ton of people. He ran as a liberal.
And then he didn't save people. And he still saved people.
He cheated on his wife.
Yeah.
He hit his wife.
He talked with Hitler, as you see in an opening shot. He was talking friendly. And he wasn't a leader, but that's kind of weird.
He basically just makes an empire by taking this guy that took him away from his family's house. As I said, the whole thing with Rosebud, I honestly think it's about him losing his childhood. Like, all of these terrible things happen to him, and he has to go back, and he thinks, I wish I was back at my home with my parents.
That's what the movie's about.
Yeah. Figuring out what the word Rosebud actually means in this movie is very confusing.
Yeah, because hey, it's a racehorse he once bet on and lost. No, Rosebud is like someone he used to love.
Yeah.
No, Rosebud, he just was saying gibberish. And then at the end, we see the sled called Rosebud being put in the fire.
Yeah. Okay, I think we need to talk about the actual, storyline of this movie. I thought it was paced very well.
Yeah.
Better paced than some movies
You
today.
got scenes where it's just talking, some scenes where you're in the past. It transitions very smoothly.
Also, the talk of like stories going on a complete different side route, like when he's talking to his best friend that's currently in this retirement home, you can tell he's a very disheveled man. It's like, Kane, what a terrible man that man was, or whatever.
Is it like, was he really my friend? Was he ever my friend?
Yes.
Really? So anyway, we should probably get to the
Yeah, we should probably get to the review by this point. So, for Citizen Kane, I'd give it a 3.5 on storytelling, and character, 10 out of 10. How about you?
The character itself, I'd have to agree with you. The storytelling, you said it was like a documentary. It really is, but it's a drama documentary. It's kind of interesting.
I also love how the beginning of the movie, it's not set up like a normal movie at all. It
starts out with a movie.
Yeah, it's like a reel of his entire life, and then you go into depth for the rest of the film.
Yeah, because I was like, wait, what is this? Is it just going to give me like a documentary about this fake guy's life?
Yeah.
And then after that, they stop and they're like, alright, I want to know what Rosebud means.
Also, Orson Welles' acting and directing, on point.
Orson Welles is like the greatest.
Especially the scene where he's destroying his second wife's room, and he's throwing all the stuff around.
Yeah, they did that so well.
The zoom in on his face as he walks out of the room, and you can just see his face like moping down. And also, under all those prosthetics, I honestly had nightmares after that shot. It's the scariest shot in the world.
I don't understand though.
Those prosthetics look weird. They were good for the time.
But for now, the movie has aged well.
Yes. Okay, we gotta talk about, AFI considers this to be the greatest film of all time. Do you think that this is still the greatest film of all time with the competitors we see today?
It was revolutionary. It pioneered filmmaking, so probably yes.
Really? I say that it's
not the greatest story, it's not the greatest movie itself, like IMDb says, but I do feel like it is I feel like it's so revolutionary, it's changed everything so much.
I agree. I think that it might not be as well set up as some like Scorsese or Coppola movies that we see today, but I do think that with how revolutionary it was and how good the storytelling and acting was for the time, it's almost like, you know when you watch Wizard of Oz and you just think this is a funny movie as a kid, and then you realize as like a teen that it's like the first movie with color in it and how much of a spectacle it was?
Yeah.
That's how I feel about Citizen Kane. It's like, yeah, it might not technically...
The real movie.
Yeah.
The movie that everyone...
It might not technically be as good as some stuff, but I still think it's one of the best. I know that this is the only one we've reviewed so far, but Citizen Kane is number one.
Right now.
Alright, so thank you everyone for tuning in. Please subscribe. We have other episodes of the podcast. Watch those as well.
Yeah.
And please tune in for next week, Singing in the Rain.
Alright, this is Calvin Stookie signing off.
And the Malazan Boy. Bye.